Hello, and welcome to TTRPG News. This week in the world of D&D, we've gotten a couple of really interesting things that have come out, but of course, because Critical Role is the D&D sweetheart and king and queen of the whatever, pretty much all the news that we got this week from D&D was about Critical Role. So their campaign 3 starts on Thursday at 7 p.m. That's the 21st, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And the big news that came with that is that they are releasing the very first episode in theaters. This has never been done before for any actual live show or anything really involved with D&D outside of some really horrific movies that were made in the early 90s.
Don't knock them too well. Okay, I can't say much about it.
Thank you. Shush. So that is going to be released in theaters. If you are interested in getting tickets, too bad they're sold out. So
we got ours.
We got our tickets. But that is going to be streamed on their Twitch channel, which is Critical Role. So there is that. But the other big news that came out with this last week was a brand new setting book set in the world of Exandria of Critical Role for D&D. So this will be the first time that they've done a setting based off of anything outside of kind of like that cluster of D&D writers. So that's kind of a cool thing. But it is going to be released March 15th, 2022. It is called Call of the Netherdeep. So if you are a fan of Critical Role, you can actually play in the world in an actual module campaign or adventure path.
Which you know what we think of modules.
We're not fans, you guys. Not at all. But if you're interested in that, so I want to read really quick the blurb on it.
You're going to read.
I'm going to read. Inspired by the campaigns of the hit series Critical Role, this adventure begins in the wastes of Jorhas and leads to the glimmering oasis city of Ankarel on the continent of Marquette. And from there into a sunken realm of gloom, corruption, and sorrow known as the Netherdeep. Above it all, the red moon of Rudis watches, twisting the fates of those who have the power to shape the course of history. That's the blurb on the back.
I wonder how they get away with using Sarin Ray. Because Sarin Ray's a Pathfinder.
I don't know either, though. But they don't use Sarin Ray.
Sarin Ray's in the stuff. So, I mean, it's in the setting. So, I don't know.
I think we're going to have to research this further because as far as I know, she's not.
Interesting.
I don't think she is. I think
that was
her.
A Pike only?
Yeah, that was a Pike only thing because even Matt made it that she was like this teeny tiny little deity.
That's true.
That wasn't. Anyway, so the other big news in the D&D world is Fizban's Treasury of Dragons is coming out October 26th. That is in 1 week. 1 week, folks. So next Tuesday. That is a really big deal. A lot of people have been super hyped about it. I know a lot of people in the community are giving away copies, so keep a lookout for all those types of things. And yeah, so that's all. We are not going to ever, as Weston told me, we should not cover rumors. So we're not ever going to cover rumors about the fact that Hasbro might be selling D&D. We're never going to cover that. We're never going to talk about it.
There's the idea that they've been shopping it around for a while. But actually, some more talk has happened on that because of our other news. In Paizo.
Weston, take it away.
So in the Paizo and Pathfinder front, all releasing of Paizo materials, both Pathfinder and Starfinder, have been put on halt because the employees, the freelance writers, and everything involved with Paizo have started a union.
Which is actually really cool.
So it's an interesting thing. It's the first union in the TTRPG space. And if this really goes off and has any success at all, Wizards of the Coast is going to be looking down the barrel.
Yeah, because I don't think the writers and the creative producers and whatnot in Wizards of the Coast are going to be okay not being a union if their highest competitor is unionized. That's going to be a really big deal. And for those of you who don't know much about this story, Paizo a couple of weeks ago, maybe about a month ago now, this was right before Gen Con. They had a really big explosion happen within the culture at the Paizo headquarters where there was allegations of mistreatment of employees, of management basically working them to the bone and not giving them safe working conditions. And
the big thing was that they were forcing them to work in person.
Yeah.
They actually aren't allowed to work remote, according to what they're
they
saying.
They were sent back to the office, I think, after like 6 or 7 months of the beginning of the COVID pandemic. So that was a huge part of it too. So all these allegations came out online. There was a lot of information. Weston and I have kind of an insider track of what was going on with some of the executives. So we know that there was a lot of rumblings and they were trying to fix it. There was a lot of apologies that were made, actually, and there were some changes happening within the structure and the organization of Paizo.
The employees decided to take this as an opportunity to organize.
Hiya, Matt.
Oh, hello. We have another subscriber.
Hi, Tyler.
Magic Missile Pod.
That's Tyler.
Oh,
hi, Tyler.
Maps and Quest is here. He's going to lurk and like
a creep. Amber says happy belated birthday. Hi, Amber. Lurking like a creeper because I'm exhausted. Yeah, because you know you're not going to go to sleep for another 4 hours anyway.
But yeah, so I mean, if Paizo's employees, they've done the union, it's definitely happening, and Paizo's taking it seriously enough that they're canceling all releases at the moment. So everything that was planned for this next year's dates are probably they're all getting pushed back now. They're all going to get pushed back. So if that union situation goes over to Wizards of the Coast, that is going to create a lot of situations for them. It's going to increase costs there. And so there have been some who are like, if they were going to selling before their employees unionize would be
kind of a good idea if they really wanted to. Oh my goodness, Matt, thank you for the subscription.
Yay.
I love you.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Amber just said that unions are unions through CWA. It's the union her husband works for.
Oh, is it?
So like this is not like just a small thing. It did kind of start on Twitter as a movement within the fan base and most of the freelance writers with Paizo. It started there, but it's become a much bigger thing. So we'll be keeping our eye on that, especially since.
But it might change the whole space of TTRPG industry.
Yeah, and independent writers might suddenly have a lot more power than they have had at any other time in TTRPG history. So this is definitely a story we're going to be watching.
Yes, everyone needs to watch this one over the next 6 months. You'll really find out what direction things are going to go.
Yep, exactly.
Other than that, do you have anything else in D&D?
Nothing else in D&D, but I did want to make a note that Guns and Gears for Pathfinder came out.
So the Gunslinger
recently.
class for 2nd edition, which if you are a fan of Critical Role, Percy's character is based off of the Gunslinger in Pathfinder 1st edition.
Because if you didn't know, they started with Pathfinder first. So
I'm
I would
pretty
just
sure
like
that
to
Jaffe's
say,
still playing Pathfinder 1st edition.
I think he is too.
Because he references it throughout, even in campaign 2.
I know.
He brings up things that are Pathfinder.
I know. I'm like Taliesin, love.
So the Gunslinger, they have the new class now for the 2nd edition. The Gunslinger and the Artificer. They also have an Automaton class.
Which is so cool!
Okay, so ancient technology, trap the souls of different things, place them into an automaton that has some of the coolest abilities and honestly might be a little OP.
It is a little bit OP, but this was the coolest part of it. Is it when we started our campaign, back in April, Weston created the bad guy for the first story arc was a mage who had figured out how to steal the soul from someone and put it in a machine, essentially, and he was building war machines. And then Guns and Gears comes out and he reads through the automaton thing and he doesn't hit me very often, you guys. I just want to say we have a very loving relationship. But he sits right behind me as we work. We work back to back. And he turns around, he smacks my arm, and he's like, "Babe, oh my gosh!"
I was ahead of my thinking.
He was. It's true. It's true. But I think that is all that we have.
Yep, I think that's all. So definitely that's something to check out if you play Pathfinder, which I guess that will lead us into our topic for the night.